Have you ever wanted more pleasure in your life? You've come to the right space. Hello, I'm Rachel, and I've been an intimacy coach for 10 years, which has inspired me to do this extended series that we're doing around ways to implement pleasure into your everyday life, both for self, but within a relationship. Now, today, actually, what I want to share with you, friends, is something that I think everybody needs to hear. So having been an intimacy coach for 10 years, and for the first 8 years of my business, I only worked with women. So I have an extensive amount of knowledge and experience around their experiences when it comes to sex and intimacy. The reason this is such a profound conversation to have, in my opinion, is because if we can kind of understand where women feel like they're lacking, not them themselves, even though that's what they think it is, but where they're lacking in their needs when it comes to foreplay, intimacy, sex, and things like that, then we can really move towards a solution that feels good for everybody, right? So what I want to share with you today is that over the past 10 years, when I've done private consultations with people, I've heard a lot of the same things. And I also want to tell you, by the way, that if this is you where you're like, I'd really like to reach out to somebody and talk to them about my sex and intimacy, but oh my gosh, I do not want to scare them. If this is somebody who's been an established intimacy coach for a long period of time, friend, they have heard it all. It is like going to the dentist and telling them that your tooth hurts. It is totally okay. There's never any TMI when it comes to things like this. However, from the beginning, I saw trends. And so what I want to tell you is that at the beginning, back 10 years ago when I started doing consultations, the number one thing I would hear from the feminine is, whew, Rachel, my masculine partner has a higher sex drive than I do. How do I fix this? Okay, that was 10 years ago. Now, I still hear this today. It's not a problem, by the way, but I know why you feel that way. So that's something I still hear today. But after about 5 years in the industry, this started to shift and change. And I was so proud because in retrospect, what I can tell you now is that there's a shift amongst the feminine that is happening. Because about 5 years ago, the second thing I started to hear in the consultation room that was the most prevalent was things like this. Hey, Rachel, I really enjoyed this presentation tonight, learning about my body and my intimacy and sex and stuff, which reminded me, I actually like sex and I really miss it. I don't know what my disconnect is, but I'm trying to figure that out. But while I do, I bet if I could think a little bit about the fact that I have so many things on my plate, if I could just get some help between the children, activities, bill paying, something to this effect, that would allocate a lot more of my energy to move back towards my libido. Smart thinking, emotional labor. Y'all started cluing into it, understanding that it was necessary, and now you're asking for it. So I'm very, very proud of you. Now, that still is a question that I talk to a lot of clients about in the ordering room today, but it's not as prevalent as the third thing, the newest thing. So within the last 2 or 3 years, the most prevalent thing to date in my consultation room that I hear from the feminine, Rachel, I have a higher drive than my male partner. How do I fix this? Hey, still not a problem, but it's really, really cool to see the trends that have been happening. Now, women with high, healthy libidos, I don't think are new at all, but I do think that there's a lot of conversation that we need to have around that. So if this is something that you feel like you fit into, please know that you are not alone, and we'll talk about it in the videos to come. Thanks so much. Have a great day.